welcome to another episode of We're Not Wizards. My name's Richard. I will be your host for this evening or this morning or this afternoon. It depends when you're listening, because after all, it's your podcast. Joining me today is a gentleman by the name of Aigar Alaveer, who is from 2D6 Games. And 2D6 Games is based in Estonia, and they have a Kickstarter coming up soon, and called Dwarven Traders, and they've also been involved in various kind of they say on their website they're involved in a lot of various kind of economic type games. Seems to be what they like to do. So, hello. Aigar, hello.
Hello, Richard. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here.
It's nice to have you here. If for people who are listening for the first time, thank you for joining us. We have just passed episode 150, which I have no idea how we reached so many episodes. But the reason that we do this is because we quite simply believe that there's not enough podcasts out there about board games, and the other reason that we do this is because we were kind of brought together by a mutual friend of the show, Katie from Katie's Game Corner, who kind of suggested it'd be a good idea to have you come on the show and have a chat with us, to talk about your Kickstarter and to talk about 2D6 games in general. So again, thank you for coming on. To start off, do you want to tell us a little bit about kind of how you got into the kind of the tabletop hobby, please?
I wonder where to start. Well, perhaps we can skip the childhood as well. At that time, there weren't many games available except the usual Snakes and Ladders and Monopoly and all these. But I actually liked all those Monopoly versions and clones we had here around that time.
Was it an Estonian version of Monopoly then, or did you get just all the different kind of European type copies? Or
there were an Estonian version, kind of official. One, but these were the 90s that were quite hazy times here, so the end of occupation and so on. So we had all the different versions and clones of it. So, and I even made some myself based on these.
All right. What did you base them on local landmarks then, or did you No,
I just used my imagination. What sound cool. But then there was some university jobs, so there was a long silence. But when people usually talk about their gateway games, then these are, well, like Catan or some simple card game.
Yeah.
But I remember my first tabletop game, modern game, what it was. It was War of the Ring.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I had a friend who said, hey, I have this Tolkien-themed game. Do you want to play? I said, hey, why not? And then we had a whole day. But it was fun.
Because that's not a game you play for half an hour. I mean, that's a big commitment. That's a big game to play from the beginning.
Yeah, it was. And the second one, can you guess what it was? No, probably not. The Game of Thrones.
Oh, right, okay.
And after I survived those two, then
you can play anything at all.
I can play now anything. And then there came Catan and so on, all those simpler games.
I mean, was it quite easy to get a hold of board games in Estonia then? is it, did you have was there shops you could go to quite easy to get your hands on stuff, or was it a difficult thing?
Yeah, my hobby started actually almost at the same time when the first dedicated board game store started around here.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I wouldn't say easy, but still we had what we were able to get what they had to offer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have quite a reasonable sized collection then? Do you have quite a big collection of board games at the moment?
Well, back then I had reasonable.
Oh, very okay.
Yeah, but well, like almost everybody in the hobby, there was a time when I went almost crazy with the games. But yeah, well, now I have again reasonable. I try to keep it around 100 or so.
It's funny how having 100 board games is considered to be a reasonable size collection. If you had 100 of anything, then people would look at you. If you said, "I've got 100 sets of different types of training shoes," or "I've got 100 watercolors," or "I've got 100 bikes," or "I've got 100 pairs of gloves," "I've got 100 hats," then people would look at you and go, "What?"
Yeah, but you can't call it a hobby if you don't have 100 of it.
Is that the benchmark, Aigar? You've got to have 100 of something.
No. Well, actually, I'd be happy to have a lot less games, but I don't have enough heart to sell those precious.
It's even the ones that you play and you don't really like. You even kind of like, it's difficult to even get rid of them, because buying the games themselves or having the games arrive, there's always some kind of memory kind of associated with them. Oh, this was the first ever worker placement game I bought, or this was the first ever kind of war game that I bought, or it was the first ever kind of, I guess, heavy Euro game that you bought as well. Have you got a couple of favourites in your collection that you would never ever sell, you would never ever get rid of?
Yeah, definitely. but it's a hard question, actually.
Who's your favourite? What's your favourite kind of 3 that you've got in your collection that you would just play right now if you didn't, if you're going to be setting up for a board game night? What would be your favourite ones you'd like to play?
Well, if I have players, then I'd say some war games, some Maria, Combat Commander, or anything from the Coin series. I love this series.
When did you first start getting into the Coin series of games? Do you remember the first time you tried them, the first time you played them?
It probably was in one of our local, like we call it, war game camp.
All right.
Which just organized from time to time those weekends when we just gathered out of town and played all the war games. and that was the time when I probably played it first. It was the Andean Abyss.
All right, okay.
And it kind of clicked for me.
Did you have that kind of wonderful moment where there was kind of like it was a moment of joy? It just clicked with you? Because different people kind of click with different kind of different games, even games they haven't kind of played before.
Well, it was kind of moment at the end that, hey, I can finally figure out something here.
What is it you like about the coin games?
Sorry?
What do you like about the coin type games? What is it you like about them?
What I like is that there's plenty of options available, always do. And as far as I have understood, none of them are perfect. And so you have to choose something and then live with it. But you know that all other players have the same issues.
Yeah. Did that set you off? I mean, do you have quite a large coin kind of game collection then?
No, actually, no. I have only one left.
Do you?
Yes, but that's the best one.
Which one is that?
Fire in the Lake.
Oh, yeah, I've heard kind of people talk about it. For for people who haven't played a coin game before, what's the mechanics behind it? What would you normally do during the game? I mean, are they quite complicated games to kind of play?
No, actually, they're not. They're quite simple when you finally get the rules. Because what you do is half of the time you play, you do nothing because it's not your turn. And the other part, the other half of the time, you do what options you have left.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's your turn, then you have only, let's say, 2 or 3 options available.
Mm-hmm.
What you can do, and from these options you can again choose a bit what do you want to do, or what is your goal.
Okay. Are you quite restricted in the kind of the actions you can take in a round then?
Yes, you are restricted, but still you have some freedom left. Okay. So it's a bit hard to explain the mechanics in that way. It's always easier to show people.
Is that why you like them? Because of the various kind of possibilities that you have then? Because they're quite kind of deep then?
Well, I suppose yes.
Okay. Is that why what made you decide to move from kind of playing these types of games to actually designing the games yourself then?
Well, this happened thanks to my other favorite type of games, so the 18XX, the train games.
Oh, right, okay.
And well, I suppose you know the basic mechanics there. There are some companies building tracks and they have shares and so on. So I was and I'm still fascinated by the stock market in those games. And from time to time I imagined what would it be like to design a game when there is a stock market, but nothing of this track building fiddliness.
Right, okay.
And one thing led to another, and that's the way I started designing games.
Was it did you spend a long time designing the game? I mean, did you go through kind of various different versions? Because I mean, you've done quite a few. I mean, I'm talking about you've got the Making Profit, the board game.
Yeah, that was the first game I designed and published, and made lots of mistakes, learned lots of lessons. So let's not talk about it. Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, but Yeah, but there's a funny story related to that game, or I suppose it's a funny, because how one thing is to design games, but how can a person get an idea to start a publishing company? So
yeah, because most people, when they create a game, well, nowadays anyway, they go to like Kickstarter. They put the game out on Kickstarter and they get the kind of the funding kind of that way.
yeah.
But you decided to completely self-publish, making profit then?
Yeah, well, it was, I don't even remember, was it 5 years ago? Or 6 or something like that. So that time I knew nothing about Kickstarter. So I had a game I had designed, and so I was offering it locally here in Estonia to different publishers.
Yes.
And after I have waited for almost a year for an answer from one, and they finally turned it down, saying that no, it's not something we would like to publish. So I thought that to hell, I'm gonna make my own publishing company with blackjack.
So is that where is that where you decided to open up the publishing side? Because
Yep.
I take it was 2D6 in existence then. Did it exist, and did you just add the publishing side to it on top of that?
No, it was the publishing.
Okay. So did you then bring in, I take it, all the designs, because you've got a fair number of designs on your website. You've got like Lembatu, Roundhouse Kick, Puppy School. You've got First to Find, 5 Miles of Wonder. You've obviously got 1918 Death on the Rails. I mean, are these a mixture of your designs and other people's designs then?
Yeah, some of them are mine, and there are also others. And what I have done is also localized other designers.
Okay.
For example, from UK, Dog-Eared Games has a very nice game, Stackpots. I saw it in a UK Games Expo, and I really liked it, so I asked, I don't remember the name of him, but it doesn't matter. I asked if it would be okay if I localize it, agreed the terms, and now it's available in Estonian.
Oh, right, okay. Is that something that you would do a lot then? Do you do quite a regular kind of games where you're kind of localizing the content for Estonia?
I haven't much thought about it, but yeah, this might be one direction I might be taking. But at the moment, no. At the moment, I find that publishing new ideas is much more fun, much more interesting for me.
When you publish the games, do you have quite a few kind of game shops that you're working with where you're selling, or do you also kind of sell them through? I notice a lot of the games that you sell online. You use your site. Do you sell on places like Amazon and eBay and other online shops? Do you go to like local businesses to sell the games?
Locally here in Estonia, I'm in distribution, and so my games are in the bookstores and game stores. And I also used to own an online game store here as well.
All right, okay.
Well, partially own, but just recently sold my shares there, and dedicated more to the publishing part. So yeah, in Estonia I'm quite established, and now I'm trying to make my games accessible to more people.
Yeah.
Taking the international route.
Okay. How easy have you found that to kind of break internationally? Go into places like the rest of Europe or the UK, and even places like America. I mean, have you looked into those marketplaces at all?
Not easy at all.
Okay.
Well, if you just think that there's 1,000 new games created each year.
Yeah.
So it's you don't have to try hard to be unnoticed.
Was it a bit of a shock after you having obviously the distribution deals that you have throughout Estonia to then start branching out and realizing that you're really having to make an awful lot of noise to kind of get noticed?
Well, of course it was a shock. I was hoping that everybody will want them, but in real life, you have to make a lot of noise, and you may have the best game in the world, but it doesn't matter if nobody knows you.
Have you then looked at kind of? Do you go to Essen, for instance? Then is that so? Have you been to Essen a few times now, or is Essen someplace you go on a regular basis?
Yeah, I almost go there on regular basis. Whenever I have a new game published, then that year I visit Essen, and I also have tried to visit the UK Games Expo as well.
Okay.
Wasn't lucky last year, but will be there this year.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Are you going to have a stand there then? Or are you just going to come along?
With a stand.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Is this part of the drive to get kind of the 2D6 kind of name kind of out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's fun as well. And I love UK.
Have you been a few times to the UK?
Yeah, 2 or 3. And each time I have been selected for the customs search.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's not random anymore.
You just feel like they're picking on you. I suppose if you're walking through with a big pile of cardboard under your arm, maybe you're shaking too much. Maybe you've got too many dice in your pockets.
Maybe just they love games.
Exactly. You go in, they start searching. You're just like, hang on, I had 15 games. I'm missing 3. Where have the 3 gone? And the customs officers are just kind of telling you to kind of be on your way, pretty much. I mean, have you thought about kind of are you looking at kind of like taking on kind of UK kind of ideas you mentioned obviously the stack bots. Are you kind of actively looking for maybe kind of UK games designers to kind of work with as well? Or are you more Okay.
Yeah, definitely, but in a few years.
All right. Okay.
Until I have my own ideas published.
Yes. Yeah. Because
I'm running out of these very quickly.
Because you've got 1918 Death on the Rails, and that's a game. You said it's a block war game, but it's based on the Estonian War of Independence. That was like 1918 to 1920. So, is that a very, very pure kind of war game, tactical war game for that?
That's right.
Okay. I mean, with you, I mean, it sounds to me you like kind of the semi kind of complicated stuff. When you're looking at a game like this, I mean, have you gone with something that's quite complicated in terms of the rules, or have you thought, well, I've got to make it accessible as possible to as many people as possible? So have you made it kind of as easy for people to get involved and get into it?
Yeah, but it is easy, actually. It's meant to be played in 1, max 2 hours. Has simple rules. I just love simple rules. And nice components, so I believe it's accessible. It's just that the term war game may just put some people off.
I think it's quite a niche. It can be a niche market. I think sometimes when you say war game, people automatically think about a game that's got 100 kind of plastic miniatures on the table, and they're using kind of like measuring tapes and little laser measurers and 57 dice that they're rolling.
But there are fans for these as well, so
yeah. I mean, in terms of how does the game play? I mean, how does Death on the Rails play? I mean, I'm looking at the kind of the rules just now, and you've got the kind of the maps. You've got kind of an action cards, an initiative track. I mean, how would you go about kind of? It's on hexes as well.
Yes, every good game has hexes. That's my motto.
Is that? So every game you've designed, if it's not instantly, have you got like hex-shaped paper? You instantly start kind of like creating a game.
Every time I look at a new game, first I look if it does it have hexes. If it does, it's a good game, and I will buy it.
Does War of the Rings have hexes?
Yeah, but about the 1918, then I believe the most interesting part perhaps is the initiative tractor, as it determines whose turn is it, and if it's my turn, then my opponent will draw a card, and it says how many actions I can take, but he doesn't show it to me, so I don't know how much I can move, or how many times I can fire, or something like that. And then I can choose only from 2 actions actually. So it's either I move some units or I fire with them. And that's all. And during opponent's turn, then what I can do is the reaction fire. And then again, both sides have objectives they try to fulfill, and whoever does it first wins. And we were trying to keep the rules as simple as possible, so that's because there are just 2 or 3 actions available, so...
Yeah, I mean, you've got your sequence of play, because I'm looking at the rules just now. I mean, it's a 10-page rule book. And it appears like two of those pages are taken up with actually the history of the battle. So you've got 8 pages of rules, and then you've got the entire... This isn't a war game. This isn't the kind of size of a war game rule book I was expecting to see. I was expecting to be scared when I clicked on that link that said you could have a look at the rules. Because it just says, it's as you say, you can... It's like got six things. It's like, the beginning, the active player...
out of these 8 pages,
there
are also scenario descriptions included. So the actual rules are 2-3 pages.
But is it one of these games, and I see this time and time again, that as you get more and more into the game and you play it more and more, you kind of get you kind of unwrap the different levels of kind of strategy.
That was the goal, yes.
I mean, do you get do you have regular groups that you kind of play test? Did you put this game out on kind of like to quite a few groups? Did you like go around quite a lot of different kind of board gaming groups to kind of get feedback on it and things like that?
Yeah, I was actually lucky to get it tested with different war gamers. So people who are familiar with conflict resolutions and so on. So yes, there were several groups that were involved.
Okay.
With making this game, and also the designers had quite good wargaming background, and not me, but Martti Lauri.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just a child compared to him.
You don't have to be so hard on yourself. But you're saying it's currently in final production, and you're shipping it out at the end of. You're shipping
March.
out at the end of March, yeah. So, did you? I mean, one of the things you see nowadays, which is quite popular, is rather than businesses go to Kickstarter, and go to Kickstarter and wait and see if they fund. They wait and see if they've got so many kind of pre-orders before they go ahead and kind of push it to production. I think it's at GMT sometimes do that. They have, if you want the next game, then we need at least kind of 300 orders before we'll kind of take it to print. Is that what you've done with Death on the Rails? Were you waiting until you got to so many pre-orders before you were deciding you're going to put it to print, or were you just going to release it kind of no matter what?
No, I'm releasing it no matter what. Because it's related to this 100 years birthday.
Right, okay.
Estonian Republic. I celebrated 3 days ago. And so I was determined that as a part of this celebration, this game must be published. And also, I got burned with this Kickstarter.
Oh, right,
Last time I tried it. So
what happened with it?
Sorry?
What happened with the Kickstarter?
Well, what happened was that I got some 5 backers or something like that. So I wasn't prepared at all that time.
Is it a big difference going, it must be going from being well known where you are and be able to say, okay, this is the next game that we're doing, and know that there's going to be, you've got your distribution network, you've got people who are willing to take copies of the game, to moving to a Kickstarter model, and it's almost must be like walking into a completely empty room and then realise that you've actually got to fill it yourself, kind of thing. Is that where you kind of went, oh, this isn't like what I'm used to, kind of thing?
Yeah, first I don't talk that, hey, this should be easy. Well, I make games, people back games there, but yeah, you're right, it's completely different compared to this old school publishing. So you have to make a lot of noise a long time before you start. You have to create a following and so on. You have to have a beautiful art long before you publish and so on.
Okay.
So the whole process is different, and it was quite difficult to get used to it.
Did you have to learn a lot more about kind of get more involved in things like social media and stuff like that then, and have I guess, be more up on the kind of the presentation side of things. Was that kind of like a new experience that you had to kind of learn in that side?
Yeah, of course. Getting all those social media channels, getting involved, and realizing how much time it does take. It's awful.
I don't.
But it's fun at the same time. It's interesting. It's like a new world.
It must be. I mean, it must be different because especially if you're used to kind of, like, I guess, making a phone call and saying, okay, we've got this new game coming out. How many copies do you need? You're kind of going out, and in some ways, I've seen people who are running Kickstarters kind of interact almost with people on a one-by-one type basis. Basically, I've seen them engaging in conversations on Twitter or Facebook. Actually just telling people why they should consider backing the game, as opposed, I guess, to kind of talking to the shop owner. I mean, Kickstarter, I guess, has changed because you do get kind of like the retail pledges, but it's not a case you're automatically just phoning somebody up and saying, okay, are you taking 50 copies of our latest game then, I guess. I mean, have you had quite a lot of interest in Death on the Rails kind of locally? I mean, has there been quite a lot of coverage in the kind of the media in Estonia? I mean, have you managed to get quite a far reach within the kind of local groups that you're involved in and things like that?
Well, not yet, but I believe it will become when the game is ready, when it's published, as there is not much such history of how to say it, of the games being still in production.
Yeah. I guess it's building usually.
Yeah, around here, people are talking about stuff when it has happened.
Yes. Okay. So it's a case of here's a new exciting war game I want to tell you about. Based around the revolution, and then people say, "Can I see it?" Then it's like, no, because we haven't fully printed it yet, kind of thing. Yeah. So people are expecting you to say, "Okay, here's my board game. Okay, can I see it? Can I touch it? Can I play it?" And you're like, well, no. If you go to your website, and you can order it from there. So I guess that must be a bit kind of strange. But you are saying you are going back to Kickstarter though, because the next game you're looking at is Dwarven Traders.
Yep. I have a plan to launch it and be successful this time. And this time I'm more prepared. And I still believe that Kickstarter is a good platform.
Yes.
It's a good tool. And if everybody else can, then I believe I can as well.
Absolutely. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about... I mean, do you know when you're going to be launching kind of Dwarven Traders?
We haven't set a fixed date yet, because we still have some open questions regarding the cover art and stuff like that. So, but I hope it to be in a month or so.
All right. Okay.
So in the near future.
Okay. And do you want to tell us kind of how'd you play Dwarven Traders? I mean, what you say on the site is that dwarves are best known for their mining skills, but what's the use of those jewels when only gold is accepted at pubs? Therefore, from time to time, dwarves abandon their mining equipment for a year, roll up their sleeves and try to get the most money for their gems. and keep the trading. Some small bets and wagers are placed to find out who's the best gem trader among the dwarfs. You go from wargaming to dwarf trading.
Yes.
How did you come up with the idea for the game then?
I even don't remember it anymore. where it all started. But
were you sitting around with like a pile of rubies and sapphires and diamonds and thought, how am I going to get rid of these?
Well, I have these. Let's put out the game.
Exactly.
No, but I believe it all started with the mechanics here. So, as the base of the game are 4 trading cards, and they're two-sided, and there are actions on both sides. So you do the actions and then flip the card upside down.
Okay.
And that's the basis of the game. And the actions are always either you mine a gem or you sell a gem you own. So you have always 2 actions. You can do both if you like, or you can do just one. And you do it, and then it's next player's turn. It's as simple as that. And there is a small, I will not say stock chart, but some price level chart. For each type of gem, and each time you do something, the price changes accordingly.
Okay.
So in that way, you try to raise the value of your gems and at the same time decrease the value for everybody else. So it's a game that depends a lot of the players, how they're making it to this, how smoothly the game goes.
Can it get quite shouty? Can you get people shouting at each other? Can if their friend kind of makes them lose a whole pile of money?
Sure. Well, shouting at your friends, that's what the games are about.
That's the aim. The aim. 2d6. If they're not crying, they're not trying.
That's a good one.
Oh dear. But I mean, how long does it take to play?
About 1 hour.
Okay. And what's the feedback been like? I take it. I mean, have you been kind of did you play test this quite a lot? Have you been in the process of play testing it quite a lot?
Yes, this has been play tested quite a lot. I believe it has been in playtesting for a year or so. And I have played it myself so many times already, so it's getting bored a bit of. Yeah, but the feedback has been good or even excellent this time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. And then obviously you've mentioned about getting the kind of the noise out there for the game. Have you? I mean, what have you been doing in terms of that, in terms of raising awareness on the game itself?
The social media, or the stories, pictures, stories. The creative side, I'm not strong at, I admit.
Yeah. Have you got like a team kind of helping you with that then? Have you kind of brought in other people in
I don't know if that was the answer to your question.
No, that's... Yeah, no. I mean, it must be... again, it's kind of, I guess, if you're heading to Kickstarter, it's kind of like bringing in that whole extra kind of skill set that you kind of need to bring in, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you mentioned you're kind of thinking about launching it in the next kind of month to kind of 6 weeks. Have you thought about a price?
Yeah, the price level should be around 25 euros.
That's really, that's what, about 20, that's about £18. That's not...
Yeah, 18 to 20.
That's not an awful lot of money at all. Have you been having to... I guess this is the other thing, as somebody who's used to having the distribution network kind of relatively locally, kind of geographically, have you had to start to investigate kind of shipping across the world as well then? Because you mentioned, you've got already on on the other game, you say you're going to be on Death Rails, you're going to be shipping worldwide. So is that something you've also had to look into for Dwarven trading as well?
Yeah, I have some shipping agreements with the US distribution company, Ship Naked.
All right. Okay. And where are you manufacturing kind of locally, or are you going to be getting it printed in kind of in China?
Locally, it's quite impossible as the board gaming standards are so high, so they need a specific board gaming printing factories.
Ah, right, okay.
So, no, I've done in China, but this time I'm going to do it in Europe, in Poland, actually.
All right, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I did Lembito there, and they do a decent quality. And they're much more closer. So the shipping time is much faster.
Yeah. And I guess if needs be, you could take. It's easier to get to. Guessing it's easier to get to Poland from Estonia than it is to go to China.
Yeah,
from Estonia.
Definitely.
So you've always got that kind of thing as well. For if people are kind of listening tonight and they're thinking about, well, Dwarven Trader sounds something that's kind of quite interesting. Why should somebody consider kind of picking or considering kind of backing the game when it does kind of come? Like, what would you say? What would you say they should consider backing the game?
Well, first, because it's fun.
That's a good one. That's a good answer.
And that's what most of us are looking in the games, to be fun. I really hope that. And the second one is that I believe this flipping the action cards, it's kind of unique. I'm not sure it's the unique, so nobody else has done it, but at least it's not mainstream yet.
Okay.
So every time you do something, you reveal different actions for others.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And it has gems and jewels. They're nice shiny bits.
Have you actually got gems and jewels in the game?
Not for £20, no.
I was going to suggest you could each imagine that cut each 9-carat diamond with each copy.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have a problem with packers then.
No, you'd have a problem with,
Yeah, but these will be plastic ones.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh well. But what you could do is you could say, well, in one of the games, you'll be putting a real diamond.
Yeah, collect the whole set.
Exactly. All you've got to do is you just back the game. And you can back as many copies as you want. And potentially inside there's going to be a diamond, a real one, in one of the boxes. That'd be amazing.
Well,
it's about that's
a good idea.
There's probably a gambling law though. Aigar, let's be, you get a knock on the door from the Kickstarter police.
I'm afraid so, but they don't know where I live.
I know. No, they will, because they'll have your details. Or they won't have your proper address. So what we're talking about here is we're talking about gambling, offering people precious stones, and giving incorrect address information. Very much.
So that's a good topic you have for today.
You totally sound like you're ready to be on Kickstarter.
Well, I've had enough time to practice.
Oh dear. But in seriousness, if people have listened tonight and they want to find you on the internet, where can we find you on the internet webs, Mr. Alaveer?
Well, we are everywhere in the internet. Well, we're in Facebook. I would say that the best way to find us over the internet is to go to our website, judy6.ee, and we have links there to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on and so on.
Okay, and that's 2d6.ee.
Yep.
And what I'll do is I will make sure that I get a pile of links from you, so we can put them in the show notes, so that we have some notes to show. So
that's even easier. Yeah.
There you go. So people can just click away. When's the closing date for Death on the Rails? When are you stopping taking kind of pre-orders for Death on the Rails?
It was end of March, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So up until the end of March, you can jump on to the site and you can purchase a copy. And I don't think I asked the cost of Death on the Rails. How much is a copy going to cost you?
It's 65 euros. And at the moment, it's a free shipping worldwide for that price.
Well, there you go then. 65 euros. And again, we'll make sure that we've got a link onto those pages as well, so people can have a look and they can, and if you're interested, then check it out. Check out the rule books there so you can read over the rules. They've got pictures of all the components that are on there as well. So it's looking very, very interesting, especially for a war game that's only got 8 pages of rules. That's going to attract a lot of people, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
And my opinion as well. So you're not alone.
I know. That's good. At least there's 2 of us. Listen, Aigar, thank you. Thank you very, very much for coming on. I wish you best of luck with Death on the Rails. When Dwarven training comes out, we'll make sure that we'll make sure that everybody is made aware when it's kind of out and it's available and the project's kind of live as well. I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
It was
a pleasure.
It's been a lot of fun. If people want to keep an eye on what we're up to, if you go to Twitter and you'll find us on We're Not Wizards, you could go to Facebook and you'll find us on We're Not Wizards. You can go to Instagram and you can find us on We're Not Wizards. You can go to YouTube, and if you search for We're Not Wizards Tabletop Podcast, if you can find us through the local normal kind of podcast catchers, Stitcher and Spreaker and Acast and Player FM and Podknife. You can obviously go to our website directly, which is we'renotwizards.com. If you want to support us, just tell somebody. Our downloads are growing ridiculously high at the moment, and I appreciate every single person that decides to kind of tune in and give us a try. Thank you for coming on board. If you really like us, please consider going on to Apple Podcasts and dropping us a subscription. If you like us even more, please consider giving us a rating or a review. And as we say, if you like us a lot, give us a rating. But don't give us 10 stars, because that makes us big-headed. And please don't give us 1, because that makes us cry. But give us 5. It's in the middle, and it's average. And we're a little bit average. But the person who's not been average tonight is the wonderful, the fantastic Mr. Aigar Alaveer from 2D6 Games. Thank you again, Mr. Alaveer, for coming on.
Thank you.
Best of luck. As I say, best of luck with Death on the Rails. Best of luck with the up-and-coming Kickstarter campaign for Dwarven traders. There's only 2 more things to do. The first thing is to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards?
You're more than that.
Thank you very, very much. Could you say we're not wizards in Estonian?
Me ei ole võlurid.
Fantastic, that's brilliant.
I did honestly was that. No, not order some noodle soup.
Oh dear. And the second thing is just to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from Aigar.
Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s. And if you don't fancy checking out what happened during the Estonian War of Independence, then certainly check out what happens when dwarfs decide to trade in gems for beer money. And check out 2D6. But until the next time, goodbye. There we go. That's us done. Okay, so what you need to do is if you go to Audacity and if you press stop,
The yellow button.